Hello friends, in this video tutorial let us see the concept of triggers in TSQL. So for this let us go to SSMS. Now for this let us create a table called reservation. Okay. Now let us insert a record in the reservation table. So now a new table called reservation has been created with a single record. Okay. Now let us create a trigger, okay, on this reservation table. Now basically what is a trigger? Trigger is something which gets executed automatically when some action on the table or a view occurs, like insert, update or delete. Okay, so if any of this DML operation occurs like insert, update or delete, then corresponding to those operations we can have some piece of code running automatically for us. Okay, that is what is called trigger. In our this video tutorial itself we will see some other kinds of triggers also, which are at database level and also at instance level, but that we will discuss later on. Okay, so let us first of all start with the DML triggers. Okay, so let us see the first type of DML trigger. Okay, so this is for trigger. Okay, so the syntax is create trigger name on table name for insert, update or delete or any of these operations that you require as and the code that you want to run on occurrence of these events, that is insert, update or delete. Now the important thing to understand over here is the for triggers are in addition to the exit, insert, update, delete operation required by the end user. So these operations will definitely occur. Along with that, the code that you have written for the trigger will also execute. Okay, so let us create this trigger. So the trigger is created. Now over here we had inserted only one record, that is IC01 record. Now let us insert another record, IC02, which will execute this trigger automatically. So we can see that the record has been inserted and along with that this trigger has been executed, that is given DML operation is successful. That message we are getting, which means this trigger has also executed successfully. So now let us go and see the records. So now we should be having two records and we can see now these two records, right? So now let us see another type of DML trigger, that is instead of trigger, that is in place of the operation that is asked by the user. So let us see what is the syntax. Create trigger name on table name or a view name. Okay, instead of, that is in place of the operation that we have written over here, and we can write either insert, update or delete, right? In this case we are using update or delete. Okay, as reservations one confirm cannot be modified or cancelled, that is whatever data is lying in this table, reservation table, we do not want it to be modified or we do not want it to be deleted. Okay, so let us execute this and now let us try to fire an update statement. Okay, so let us try to update all the records, both the records. So we can see that when we have executed this update statement, it has automatically executed this trigger, which is the instead of trigger on reservation table. Okay, and it is printing this message, reservations one confirm cannot be modified or cancelled. Okay, this message has been printed. Now we have written over here in the instead of trigger that nothing else should happen, which means this particular updation should have no impact on the table, right? So let us go and see the data. So we can see that the number of seats have not been reduced, have not been marked as 0. Okay, so the instead of trigger is giving us the effect that it is nullifying the update statement, right? So this kind of things can also be achieved using instead of triggers. Okay, so now let us see instead of triggers on views. Okay, so for this let us create a table called flight. Let us create a view, that is create view name as and the select statement. Okay, so now this view is selecting data from two tables, reservation as well as flight. Okay, so that is important to observe over here, that it is selecting data from two tables. Now let us try to insert based on the columns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns are there. So let us try to insert those 5 values. It has to fail, right? Because this view cannot directly insert into two different tables. So we can see the error message. This view is not updatable because the modification affects multiple base tables. Okay, so this is not possible. So what if we want to really update or insert data in this view? Then that can be achieved using instead of triggers on a view. So let us create instead of trigger on the view. The syntax is create trigger name on view name instead of, in this case we want instead of insert. So let us specify insert as a keyword, as, and the logic. So all that we are doing is we are declaring some variables, right? Then we are getting values from the predefined table called inserted. So whatever are the new values that are coming as part of the insert statement executed from front end or from the by the end user, those new values are there in a system defined temporary table called inserted. Okay, pseudo table called inserted. So in this table, from this table we are extracting the values in our variables, and then we are inserting those values in our tables. Okay, that's all we are doing. So let us create this particular view, this particular trigger on the view that has been created, and now we can now insert records directly into the view with the help of instead of triggers. Okay, so let us insert 2 records. So now we are able to execute those insert statements. Okay, so now having discussed the DML type of triggers, let us also see DDL triggers. Okay, so DDL triggers can be database scope, that is the create trigger statement and then followed by the name of the trigger on database. Okay, if it is at the database level, whole database level, then it is on database. For you can specify any of these operations, like and there are many other operations which are also possible, like create table, alter table, drop view, drop procedure, etc. And then you can write your logic for that. Similarly, you can have server scope data definition language triggers. Okay, so the syntax is create trigger name on all servers. Okay, so whenever you are specifying server level, or that is server scope DDL trigger, you write on all server. Okay, and for the type of operations which are possible at this instance at the whole server level, that is like create database, alter database, drop database, right? These are the kind of operations that you perform at the instance level or the server level. So that kind of operations you can write over here as, and then your logic. Okay, so these are the different kinds of triggers, that is DML triggers and DDL triggers. So I hope friends this video tutorial is useful to you. Thank you.